Number 1. Lincoln and Kennedy connections. Abraham Lincoln and John F. Kennedy were elected 100 years apart. Both had successors named Johnson. Both were elected to Congress in '46. Lincoln in 1846 from Illinois and Kennedy in 1946 from Massachusetts. Both were elected to the presidency in '60. Lincoln in 1860, Kennedy in 1960. Both have 7 letters in their last names. Both sought to address civil rights. Both married in their 30s to women in their 20s. Both presidents were shot on a Friday while sitting next to their wives, and both were shot in the head. Number 2. The Erdington murders. On May 27, 1817, 20-year-old Mary Ashford was killed, and her body was found in a sandpit in Erdington, England. A man named Mr. Thornton was arrested and charged with the murder, but after 2 trials, he was found not guilty due to a lack of evidence and was released. Exactly 157 years later, on May 27, 1975, another 20-year-old woman, Barbara Forrest, was found dead in the same area of Erdington. Police arrested a suspect also named Mr. Thornton. The suspect was put on trial, and similar to the Thornton in Mary Ashford's case 157 years ago, this Thornton was found not guilty due to lack of evidence. Both women had a strong feeling of dread before they died. Mary Ashford told Hannah Cox's mother that she had bad feelings about the week to come. Similarly, 10 days before Barbara Forrest was murdered, she shared with a co-worker, "This is going to be my unlucky month. I just know it. Don't ask me why." Number 3. The Ebbin brothers tragedy. In July 1975, Erskine Lawrence Ebbin was knocked off his moped and killed by a taxi in Hamilton, Bermuda. It was the same taxi with the same driver, carrying the same passenger, that had killed his brother Neville in July the previous year. Both brothers were 17 when they died and had been riding the same moped in the same street. Number 4. Fiction becomes reality. In 1837, Edgar Allan Poe wrote a novel, the narrative of Arthur Gordon Pym of Nantucket, about 4 sailors stranded at sea. To survive, they drew straws to decide which one would be killed and eaten by the others. The unlucky one was a cabin boy named Richard Parker. After 47 years, in 1884, a yacht named the Mignonette sank. 4 sailors survived, but without enough food, they decided to kill and eat the cabin boy to stay alive. The boy's name was also Richard Parker. Number 5. The King and his Twin. On July 28, 1900, King Umberto I of Italy visited a small restaurant in Monza. When the owner greeted him, the king noticed they looked exactly alike and had the same name. The coincidences didn't stop there. They were both born on March 14, 1844, in the same town. Both of them married women named Margarita on the same day, and both had sons named Vittorio. They had also served in the military and were promoted to different ranks on the same day. The restaurant owner even opened his restaurant on the exact day King Umberto was crowned. The king invited him to the palace, but the man couldn't come because he had died in a shooting accident earlier that day. Later that same day, King Umberto was assassinated by a gunman. Number 6. The Hoover Dam Tragedy. The first person to die during the construction of the Hoover Dam was a man named George Tierney on December 20th, 1922. Exactly 13 years later, on December 20th, 1935, his son Patrick Tierney was the last person to die during the dam's construction on the exact same day. Number 7. The Titanic Prediction. In 1898, 14 years before the Titanic sank, a writer named Morgan Robertson published a story about a massive, unsinkable ship called the Titan that hit an iceberg and sank. The story almost perfectly predicted the real-life tragedy of the Titanic. Which coincidence shocked you the most? Have you ever experienced a strange twist of fate yourself? Share your thoughts in the comments.